Hello everyone, we are back again today. I'm going to be explaining the hormones that are involved in the menstrual cycle and how they work. So it's going to be a short video for today. Okay, so we have this acronym which is 4. So each of these letters represent a hormone. Then we have the first one which is follicle stimulating hormone. And then you have the second one which is estrogen. And then you have the third one which is luteinizing hormone. And the last one which is progesterone. Okay, so the first hormone, which is follicle stimulating hormone, is secreted by this part, which is the pituitary gland that is found in the brain. So the pituitary gland secretes the first hormone, which is follicle stimulating hormone. This hormone, as the word says, follicle stimulating hormone. So it stimulates follicles into doing something. So it stimulates follicles into maturing. So it stimulates the follicles into maturing, and once the follicles have matured, they then secrete the second hormone, which is estrogen. So the first hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, stimulates follicles to mature. Once they have matured, they will then secrete the second hormone. And then estrogen, this happens in the ovarian cycle, because we find our follicles work in the ovaries, so it's part of the ovarian cycle. The changes that occur in the ovaries. And then we have estrogen as the second hormone. Estrogen has a function. So the function that it has, once it's been secreted, it will go to the uterus and then make or prepare the uterus for implantation. So estrogen prepares the uterus for implantation. When we're talking about implantation, we are talking about the part whereby fertilization has occurred and then the development stages have occurred from zygote till the embryo. So implantation is whereby the embryo attaches itself into the endometrium, which is a lining of the uterus. Okay. So a rise in the levels of estrogen in the body will then again stimulate the pituitary gland. So if there is a rise in estrogen levels, the pituitary gland is stimulated. Once the pituitary gland is stimulated, then it needs to respond. It responds by doing what? By secreting this third hormone. So the luteinizing hormone is then secreted because there is a high amount of estrogen within the blood. So when that happens, luteinizing hormone is then secreted by the pituitary gland. What does it do? First thing, it stimulates ovulation. So that means luteinizing hormone is secreted before day 14. It's secreted before the actual ovulation because it needs to stimulate the follicles into ovulating. It's like having a little needle and then going to pop the balloon. So the first function is to stimulate ovulation, and then the second function, it's then, once ovulation occurs, the follicle ruptures. So when the follicle ruptures, it is then turned or converted into a corpus luteum. So the second function for luteinizing hormone is to convert the ruptured graphene follicle into a corpus luteum. So when this happens, the corpus luteum then secretes the last hormone, which is progesterone. So progesterone also has its own functions. It has two functions. The first function is to further prepare the uterus for implantation. So why do we say further prepare? It's because it's not the hormone that begins the preparation, but it continues where estrogen had left off. So that's why we say it further prepares the uterus for implantation, or the endometrium for implantation. Okay. And then the second function, which is the other important one, it is to maintain the pregnancy. So the first one is to further prepare the endometrium or uterus for implantation, and the second one is to maintain pregnancy. Since during the early stages of pregnancy, the placenta hasn't formed yet, so there is nothing to secrete this hormone progesterone. So then progesterone is secreted by the corpus luteum. But we know that throughout the cycle, the corpus luteum shrinks. And if it shrinks and there is no implantation, then the progesterone levels go down. So if the progesterone levels go down, it means there was no implantation that took place, there's no fertilization that occurred, and then meaning that the female is not pregnant. Another thing is, when we have progesterone, it means we cannot have follicle stimulating hormones. So progesterone inhibits the secretion of FSH. So if we do not have FSH, we cannot have the menstrual cycle. It does not start. So we could say another function for FSH is what? It's to initiate the menstrual cycle. And please do understand that the first day of the cycle is the day that you start your periods. You start your menstruation. So we have the cycle, which is 28 days, and within the cycle we have the menstruation period. So that lasts about from day 1 up to day 7. So that is the menstruation period. And the first day that you go on your periods, that is the first day of your cycle. So if you have any other questions, you can write on the tab below, or my number will be written there. You can also send me text and ask questions, and I will try and make time to answer all your questions. Have a lovely day. I hope you enjoyed our video.